It's rare to come across a collection that is really focused almost primarily on sculpture. The collection of David and Laura Finn is one of those things you dream about as an art historian. It was a collection put together with such sensitivity and insight and foresight into these sculptors that we now look on as the great titans of the 20th century. We are thrilled to be offering works from the collection of David and Laura Finn. They began collecting in the late 1950s and early 1960s and came to collecting very organically through relationships with the artists in many cases.
David Finn ran a public relations firm, but on the side he was an acclaimed photographer. What he would do was he would approach the piece, working out extraordinary angles to pull out the best form that he saw. So David Finn really had an extraordinary empathy for sculpture. He knew how to bring them alive. The beautiful Arp bronze, the Tours des Pyrénées, would have appealed greatly to David Finn's photographic sensibilities. The artist has approached it in a rather mannerist sensibility. There is no single primary viewing point. It's a work that can be viewed from many different angles. The wonderful thing about this collection is that all of the artists represented, from Marini and Moore to Richier and Giacometti, they all knew each other. And we've got David Finn pulling together a nice time capsule of a moment in history when all these artists and patrons had very close relationships. And you could explore, just through David Finn, a community that he was part of and which he contributed greatly to.
One of the great stories in the Finn collection is the relationship between Alberto Giacometti and Germaine Richier. These are two artists that are learning together in Bordel's studio at the same time. They have an incredible dialogue between them, connecting through existentialism in France in the years after World War II. The Germaine Richier in the Finn collection is focused on the subject of Don Quixote. He is the wanderer in the desert, in an unknown land, in a discombobulating world, and in many ways encapsulates the post-war existentialist hero.
For me, one of the most exciting works in the collection is the extraordinary bust of Diego by Alberto Giacometti, dating to 1957. It's numbered 1/6, and I have no doubt that someone like David Finn would have ensured he got one of the earliest casts. And the surface is beautiful. You can see how he's really worked the surface. You can see his fingerprints, and all of these details have been preserved perfectly in the casting.
Henry Moore was more than just an artist, he was a very close friend. These people spent New Year's Eve together repeatedly. This particular work was conceived in the 1950s, which is one of the most innovative and fruitful decades for Henry Moore. Originally, actually, Moore titled this work Pregnant Woman, and it's a reference to his wife who was then pregnant with their child. This is a very personal work for Henry Moore, and one that he actually selected for the Finns personally. It is one of the most emblematic works from their collection, and to see an object that comes out of such a personal relationship is very exciting for us. Marino Marini is tapping into an art historical lineage, much as Henry Moore is when he takes on the female figure. It's a somber vision of the horse and rider theme. It's not the monumental, the proud horse and rider that you see in many Italian piazzas. At the very beginning of their relationship, David Finn would bring Laura with him to these galleries during lunch breaks in New York City. So the works that they acquired grow out of their relationship. This is a couple that's been together for over 70 years, and their collecting grew out of their love and passion for each other and for art.